and we will upload it to our YouTube channel. There's a link to our YouTube channel right here. Anytime you want to go back and reference this training, you can. If you have any questions during this training session, if you want to just type them in the chat. At the end of this presentation, we'll have about 15 minutes to go over any questions that you guys have. And then, as I stated earlier, we've already made some videos for the training on the iPad. Those will be linked here. If there's any other questions, they can ask the superintendent at the job site, or again, call us and email us, and we'll be happy to help you guys. So moving on to creating the account for BIM360. I've asked everybody to email me the person at your company that will be responsible for submitting the submittals and RFIs and distributing that documentation. I think I've received everybody's and have sent out an invitation to register. You should have received an email from Autodesk that looked like this, and it will have a button here where you can activate your membership. And then it'll take you to the activation page. So once you create an account, you should have access to, if you have been invited to any projects, you should see it once you log in. So if I sent that invitation to the wrong person, if you would just, you can either let us know in the chat right now or send me an email that I need to invite a different person from your company. Also, we only have one seat per se per company for this application. So the main person who registers with their email, they will get the email notifications whenever a submittal is approved or an RFI is answered, or if you have an issue assigned to your company. But you can give this login information to other people that they can access and get this information. So I would create a password that you don't mind sharing, and again, multiple people can use this account. So the person who registers is just the person who will be getting the email notifications. We do not have access to your login information, so if you would put it in a place that you'll remember it. If you do forget it, they have a reset password on their website, but we cannot physically look up that information for you. Whenever you're going to log on to the website, you'll want to save this address right here. This will be the main login URL, and that'll be how you get onto the site. Okay, we're going to jump into some overview of the site, so I'm going to switch over to the actual site here. I already have the link saved, so this is that same link that's on the agenda there. So you'll want to sign in with the email and password that you created. So when you log in, you'll probably have two options on yours. You might not see this BIM360 docs. You might see it, but you'll want to go to the project homepage. This will be the homepage for all of the BIM360. when this loads up here, this will be your home screen. Mine's going to the wrong project, so we've created a mock project here so that you can see. When you go, this will be your dashboard. It'll have good information, any issues you have assigned to you, what the status of them are. So like these two right here are open right now. You'll have a submittals tab that'll show all of the submittals that you have that are required, and it'll give status on those also, if they're approved, required, submitted, and any open RFIs would also be on here. These are called cards. You can customize them if you wanted to move them around, if you wanted to have them in a different spot. This will just give you a quick snapshot of what you have going on for each project. So I wouldn't really mess with these as far as adding any or deleting any. These three are probably going to be the main ones you're going to want to look at. If you want to see any of these, you can click through them right here from the dashboard and go straight to them. That's getting a little ahead though, so I'll go back here. So this will be your main dashboard. You'll probably have weather and a project address to the actual project. This is just a mock project, so I didn't put it in there. At any point on the website, you should have this bar up here at the top. If you're on multiple projects with us, you will be able to switch in between projects right here. You want to make sure that up here at the top, it always says the project that you're wanting to. So if you're looking for a submittal or RFI to a particular project, if you don't see it, it might be because you're on the wrong project. So this should stay here no matter what page you're on to switch back and forth between projects. Right here beside where it says Project Home, this is going to be your main navigation throughout the website. We call this the waffle icon. So this should also be, no matter what page you're on the website, this should be here. And this will be how you switch through the different modules. This is the 3 modules you will have access to and be using for BIM360. We have document management, project management, and field management. Each one has a different purpose, and I'll be going through what each one of those are.
Do you want to address questions now as we go along?
We can.
Yeah. Or wait till the end? Up to you.
We'll wait till then.
Okay.
So we'll answer all the questions at the very end so that we don't get sidetracked and try to keep this at an hour. So I'm going to move into going over each module and what they're used for. So we're going to start with document management. You might also hear it be called BIM360 Docs. It'll be the same thing. So in BIM360 Docs, this is going to be where you'll have access to all of the plans and any project files that are shared with you in the project. You'll see a couple tabs here: folders, reviews, transmittals, issues. You don't need to worry about these 3 tabs here. The only one you're going to be working with here is folders. And it's broken up into 2 sections. So you have plans here and you have project files. The plans is where you'll have all of the plans for the project. So this will basically be broken down like a folder tree. You can go to any folder here and it'll have the plans in it. You can switch between preview, or if you want it in a list, you can switch right here, and you'll be able to go into all the plans. We'll go ahead and go into one of these plans here. So this will basically be like a PDF viewer. You will be able to do markups. So if this will be useful if the guys in the field have an iPad. If you guys wanted to keep your as-built, keep track of them on here, you could do that. You have your markup tools here. Nobody else will be able to see the markups you do on your plan, so this is all just for your benefit. A good way would be to keep your as-built as you do them. So this will mostly be for viewing the plans. These will be hyperlinks, so if there's any detail, if you want to jump to it, you can just click on it, and it'll go to that page that it was linked to. If you need to go back, you can just go to return right here and go back to the previous page you were on. If you go to one, and it also has another links on it that you want to go to another detail, you can just click on it from there, and it'll go to it. And then from the return here, you can go back to any of the plans that you were at previously. So it's a quick way to get back and forth between the drawings. If you have a bunch of markups on the drawings, or if there's RFIs that we have made or issues and you don't want to see them, down here at the bottom, you can click hide all markups, and it'll take them away so that you don't see them at that time. So you have one for issues and one for RFIs. If you want to get back to your main folder where the plans are, just click this X up here, and it'll take you back to the folder. And from there, you can go into another plan, go into other folders. If you want to download the plans for any reason, you can either click the plan that you want to download, and these three dots right here, you click download source file, and it tells you must have pop-up dialogues enabled to download, so it'll actually pop up a dialog and then start downloading. And then you'll have that file. You can also download, say you wanted all of them in this folder, you can click to check all of them and download, and then you could download, say, all of the architectural plans at one time. Or if you just wanted to download one, you can just click which one you want to download and download it. It does not have the option to download all of the plans at once, so you can't do a folder at a time. You couldn't download all three of these folders at one time. I don't know why it doesn't let you, but it doesn't have that capability. So just beware. If you're trying to download a lot, you'll probably want to do it at a folder level and download all the plans in there at one time. You'll see here at the bottom, the second part of this, it has project files. It looks grayed out, and you might not be able to see this. I don't know if we've set up access yet to all the folders, but if you click down, you should have something that says trade partner folders, and this is the folders that you guys will have access to view. So in here we'll have all the ASIs, we'll have the construction schedule. So we'll have a copy of all of the previous schedules, and then we'll have a folder with the current schedule. And this will work just like the plans. If you click on it, you can go in here, and it's basically just like a PDF viewer. So you'll be able to see the most current schedule at all times. You have the same markup tools. You might not be using them as much on these, but you do have the same capabilities as you do on the plans. So this is where we'll keep a record of all of our RFIs, all of our submittals, and a copy of the specifications. So at any time, if there's any other information we think might be useful, we can create folders in here for you guys and drop information into it. But this will be good information for the project for you guys to be able to reference. So that's about it for the BIM360 Docs module. It's basically just going to be to view plans and project files that pertain to the project. So, like I was saying up here at the top, you always have your projects you can switch in between, and then you have this waffle icon where you can switch in between all the modules. So we'll go ahead and switch over to the project management module. Is this a good speed? Go ahead and put in the chat if you can't hear me or need me to slow down or anything. Good. All good. Okay, so right now we're in the project management tab. That's going to be this one right here. In this one, you have 3 tabs. You have RFIs, submittals, and meetings. We're only going to be worried about RFIs and submittals. So I'll start off with the submittals tab. In here is where you will create RFIs that you want to submit to us. You will also be able to see any closed RFIs that everyone has submitted. So it won't just be RFIs that you've submitted. Once RFIs are actually answered and closed out, you'll have access to view them. If you open them up, you can just click on them, open them up, and they will have the official response that you can see. So this is just an RFI that I copied from another project. This will be the response from the architect and the question that was asked. And you'll also be able to see in here any attachments. So on this one, they had, here's a PDF version of the RFI. This is what it'll look like. You have the question that was asked, and then you have the response from the architect, and then they also had a marked up plan attached with this one. So any of these RFIs, if you want to look at details of it, you can just click into them once they're closed and be able to read through what the response was, what the question was, and if there's any attachments, you can download them and view them. This is also possible to do on the iPad, so this is where it helps for the guys in the field to be able to have access to this information. So we'll go through real quick and show how to create an RFI. So you'll want to go to this Create RFI button here at the top right. Once you get in here, I'll go through each one of these that we'll actually need you to fill out. If you can be left blank, I'll let you know here. So the status will always need to be submitted. You'll want to create your title. So I'm just making something up right here. So what is type F light fixture? Assigned to, that'll always be your project manager for the project. So it's either going to be me, Sterling Barnett, or Todd Zumbar. So you'll just assign it to. It should only be one choice here. So it should either say my name or Todd Zumbar. So you'll just pick whoever's available there. Due date, it should be 10 days from the time you submit. That's how much time we should be allowed. So you'll just go in here and select. That's usually 7 days for the architect and any time that we need to review ourselves and send it on. So you can make this accurate. If it's an RFI that you need an answer right away, you know, put the date that you actually need it, but we ask that you try to give us 10 days to answer any RFIs. So you'll type your question here. You want to make sure that you put any reference to plans, details, or specs in here. Make it as detailed as possible so that it's easy for the architect to answer. And suggested answer, if you have a solution to the question that you're asking, 9 times out of 10, this makes the RFI process a lot quicker if the consultant or architect is just approving what you're suggesting instead of leaving that blank and letting them come up with a solution. So if you have any plans or specs that you want to reference and attach here, if you mark up any plans, you can attach it here, either by browsing on your computer or if you've marked up any plans in the BIM360 docs, you can attach it here. So you would just select whatever plan you had done your markups on, and you can upload it. So there's 2 ways there. You can use the information from the BIM360 docs module, or you can mark up a plan on your computer and upload it that way. You do not need to worry about linked documents or location, cost impact, or schedule impact. We will fill out this information as we are reviewing it at the GC level. You don't have to worry about the priority, discipline, category, or external IT ID. We'll also fill out that information. And distribution list, you do not have to worry about that. We will also fill out that information. So you are only responsible for filling out the status, the title, the assigned to, the due date, the question, the suggested answer, and any attachments. All the other fields will be filled out by the GC before they submit it to the architect. So we'll go ahead and hit create here. And once it's created, you'll see that it says submitted here. That means that the project manager got a notification by email that a new RFI has been submitted. And then on our level, we're going through reading the RFI, seeing if there's any additional information we need to give, and we're filling out the rest of the information. And then we submit it on to the architect. Once the architect has responded, you'll get it back and you will get an email notification that the RFI has been answered. And it'll also say closed right here. That is basically it for the RFIs. And another thing we can look at here, once you've created one, just to show you on the dashboard at the project home, this updates live from the information that's inputted. So give this just a second. Let me try this one more time. Okay. So I guess this was closed on the wrong one, but if you have this on Project RFIs, it'll show you the RFIs that are in process for your company. So they should stay updated with statuses based on what's going on in these particular modules. So that should be about all you need to know for the RFI portion of this. So this is where you'll go if you need to submit an RFI to us. We do ask that we get RFIs from you through BIM360 and make sure that you guys have detailed questions and answers, and try to get them to us with enough time for us to get a response. We know things come up in the field that need answers right away, but we would like to try to keep all of our RFIs in the BIM360 platform.
If your crew submits an RFI on an iPad, because it's the same way.
Yeah. So your field personnel will also be able to submit an RFI on their iPad, and we do have a YouTube video on that. And that'll also show up here once they've submitted for your company. It'll show up just like this, that they have created it. So we'll move on to submittals. So under the submittals, you'll see here there's about 6 or 7 here. These are just examples that I've made. When you look at this screen right here, you'll have some that say required and some that say closed. So all of the submittals for every trade partner, you'll be able to view them once they are back and approved. They'll say closed right here, and you can go through and look at any submittal from any trade partner once it's approved. This will be useful if it's a coordination, if you're needing to see anything from another trade partner. This would be nice information for you to be able to look at. So when you open this up, it'll have the overview page, which will go over the details. It'll have the spec section that it was. It'll have the official response. And this is where you can download that submittal. So if you download this attachment, it should bring it up to where you can look at the submittal. This is an example from another project here. And you can look through this and see exactly what was submitted. It'll also have the architect's comments on it. So that's really all you're going to need for looking at submittals that are from a different trade partner. You'll just want to find what submittal you're looking for. They're going to be labeled. You have the spec section, and then the title will be what was submitted. So each submittal will be labeled what it is. So storefront entrance shop drawings. If it's product data, it'll have product data. If it's multiple, like this one right here, it won't let me go any farther. But if it has multiple, it'll have product data and shop drawings. So this will be how you can find what submittals you're looking for. Now, when you log in, you might not see it right now, but you will have all of the submittals that will be required from you to submit will be right here, and they'll say required. So the project manager has already went in and put in all the submittals for the project, and he will assign them to that trade partner. So if you won't need to worry about actually creating any submittals, they'll already be created for you. So if you were the door hardware supplier, you'd have this submittal right here, and to submit on that submittal, all you do is click on it and go into it, and it'll have this information already populated for you. You do not have to worry about filling any of it out. And what you will do is just upload your submittal. So you'll usually have that in a PDF format, and you would just browse on your computer and upload whatever's required. So I'll find something old just to make an example here. So you would upload that, and then you would hit submit to manager. Now that RFI has went from required to open. So then the project manager gets a notification that this has been submitted. We'll do our review on it, and then we will send it to the architect for their review. Once we get it back, whether it's approved, rejected, revised, resubmit, you'll get an email notification, and this status will change once again to whatever that is. If it's a revise and resubmit submittal, it will create another submittal that will say required. So it would be the same spec number, but this would be 02 or 01B. So that would mean that it would be a revised submittal that we're looking for a resubmittal. So we do ask that all of your submittals, you just submit what it's asking for in that submittal. So like this one right here, anchor bolt shop drawings, we would ask that you only submit the anchor bolt shop drawings in this submittal. For this one, if you're a storefront, this one would just be the storefront entrance shop drawings. We would have a separate submittal for the product data, or if you had any samples for the glazing, you would submit that separately. We ask that this comes into a lot of the HVAC and plumbers and electrical, they have multiple spec sections. We ask that you break them up by each spec section and what it's asking for.
So the required submittals are created on our end in BIM.
Yes.
The only thing they're required to upload are the PDF documents attached to that.
Correct. So I'll clarify that one more time. So when you first log into your project, you will have a list of required submittals. That'll be just for your company. So all of the ones that say required by them, you will be required to submit. Any of them that say closed, don't worry about that. That's another trade partner, or that's one that you've already gotten back approved. So only if they say required, we'll need you to submit what it's asking for, and that's going to be in the title there. So each one of these you would click on and upload the PDF for that submittal. If you're doing physical samples, we ask that you upload pictures of that sample front and back before you send it to our office. That way we have an actual PDF submittal to forward to the architect. So you will still deliver those samples to our office, and then we will deliver them to the architect, but we will need a PDF submittal with pictures for that to forward on to the architect to go along with it. So that is it for the submittals portion. And that is it for the project management module. Looks like we have about 15 minutes left, so I will try to speed it up a little bit here on the field management so we can get to all of your questions. The last module is going to be the field management module. It's got two tabs here, checklist and issues. You do not have to worry about the checklist tabs, just the issues tabs. So issues is going to be what our, on the GC side, our superintendents use and our project managers use to assign anything from our safety director will also use it. So you might see an issue come in for something that was not complete, work not complete, or any safety infraction, or maybe punch list items or items that need to be corrected. You will receive an email notification whenever an issue has been assigned to you. So an example of one here might be missing a light fixture. So if we have all the lights installed and one of the rooms is missing a light fixture, we might create an issue. And you would need to, you can open it up, it'll have details. It'll be who it's assigned to, the type of issue, the person who created it. We will also assign a due date of when we need it done by, and any other information about location and where it's at. And you might also have a linked document showing the location of it. We will also put a description in there. There's one C light fixture that has not been installed in Classroom 101. Please check on the status and fixture and install by next Wednesday. So that's an example of a description you might see. When you have a issue assigned to you, the only thing that you need to do is add a response when it's been complete and how you corrected it. And you can also upload any pictures or documentation to support it. So you'll provide a response, and then you will change the status up here at the top right to ready to inspect and any other additional comments. So whoever assigned the issue to you is who you will assign it back to. So if it came from your project manager, you would assign it to them. If it came from your superintendent, you would assign it to them. And if it came from the safety director, which is Jeremy, you would assign it back to him. After you complete that, they will get an email notification that that issue has been complete and that it's ready for us to review. If it's done, there's nothing else to do with it, then we'll close it out and there will be nothing else for that. So this will be real big on safety infractions and work to complete. This will also be a big part of our punch list. So once we do our punch list at the end of the project, you'll have a lot of issues come in here, and that'll be your punch list items that need to be corrected. So
You kind of can create issues as well.
just RFIs.
It's like,
So that's really it for the field management module. You'll just be dealing with issues. If we assign a due date to an issue and it cannot be completed by then we will, you can put in your response that cannot be completed by this due date, but here's the date that it can be completed by, and we can update the due date there. So
it won't show up as past due.
yeah. So we want to try to have these not in the red. So we want to try to stay on top of any of the issues that are assigned to you. Okay, that is all I have. So I'll open it up for the next 15 to 20 minutes, and we'll go through some questions. Steve, do you want me to, or you don't mind if they have questions, or just go over them?
Tim's laptop gets asked, can you sort by company name?
Okay, so
What are we sorting?
let's start with the first question you got. So we'll run through these questions that we received in the chat right now.
Okay, so Burrell needs the invitation, we'll get that to him.
Okay.
We just answered Paul's question about receiving email notifications of issues that are waiting, that are assigned to you and waiting to be answered.
Yeah. So I'll restate the question. So Paul had a question about email notifications when you receive them. So you will get email notifications when an issue is created, when RFIs are created, when submittals are created. You also get email notifications when you have an answer to an RFI, or a submittal is approved or rejected, or your issue is closed out. So you'll get an email notification pretty much anytime something is created here in the actual module.
Okay. Paul would like to hear the requirements for creating an RFI again.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Paul would like to hear the requirements for creating an RFI again.
Okay, so I guess by requirements, that is what needs to be submitted when you create an RFI?
How to create an RFI.
Okay, so in the project management module here, you go into the RFI tab, and then at the top right here, you'll create RFI. For creating an RFI, you want to make sure that you have the status as submitted. You create a title. You assign it to your project manager. That's either going to be Sterling Barnett or Todd Zumbar. Should be the only selection that you have there. You'll want to select a due date. Typically, it's going to be 10 days after you created it. That's usually the time frame we try to have them back by. If it needs to be sooner, put a realistic date that you need, but we ask that you try to get them in with us, giving us 10 days to review. You want to make sure that you have a detailed question, referencing plans, details, spec sections, anything you can to make it as detailed as possible. You'll want to, if possible, provide a suggested answer. It'll make the RFI process go by a lot quicker if you have a suggestion that the engineer can just approve or deny rather than coming up with their own. And then attach any marked up plans or specifications that you're referencing. You'll want to upload them right here to accompany the RFI. The rest of this will be filled out by the GC after it's submitted. So that is all that you need to fill out: is status, title, assigned to, due date, question, suggested answer, and any documentation you need to upload.
All of that is okay.
Is that good, Paul?
He said, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Reese wanted to know how to upload a submittal, and then they said they got it.
Okay.
So I think we're good there. And Tim's laptop. Can you sort by company name?
So on what part, Terry, I'm guessing? Yeah. Really, all this will be pertain to your company. I'm trying to think here on what part you would need to sort by company, but it looks like you can here. It looks like you will be able to sort by company. Maybe. That is a good question that I did not have an answer to. You can filter here, so I'm guessing you could probably filter by company if you wanted to. It doesn't even have it there either. So, Terry, I'm going to say no, you cannot. But if you look over here on scroll this over here on the right, when you're on submittals, it'll actually have a company tab. So that might make it easier to find what company you're looking for. You can also sort it by spec section. So if you know what spec section it'll be under, that'll be an easy way to find it also. RFIs, we should have the same thing. We'll have them companies here where you can quickly look for the company. Filtering does not have the companies either. So I'm going to say that you cannot filter by company, Terry.
That's it, unless somebody else has got something.
All right. If there's not any more questions, then we're going to wrap this up here. I want to thank everybody for taking the time to come on. Again, we will have, if you need any additional training, reach out to me or Steve. We'll have 2 more of these Zoom sessions. You're not required, if you came to this one, to go to the other ones, but if you would like to, feel free to. And at issues?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll go back to Terry's question real quick.
Can you sort in issues?
Let's see if it can. Assigned to, yes, it looks like if you went to the filter up here at the top left, this little icon, and you went to assign to, you could at the very bottom, it has the different companies, so it looks like you should be able to filter. Doesn't look like I have any assigned to that company, so looks like they're all, well, that's not either. Doesn't look like that's given a good filter either. So I don't think those can be, but you shouldn't see any issues that are not to your company though. So I don't think that'll be a real big issue.
So that's the last question.
Okay.
Probably not a bad idea to let everybody know the iPad version and the desktop version are 2 different things.
Yeah, so all of this that we went over today will be just for on the desktop. So this is more of submitting the information and closing out and looking at the plans. The iPad version is more for looking at the information in the field. So you want me to go to the video?
You don't have to, you can.
Okay.
Yeah, just flip over there real quick and just show them.
So I'll show you real quick kind of what the iPad version looks like and how it's a little bit different here. So it has no sound. But when you go in, you'll log in.
Then you're overriding it. Yeah.
So you'll log into the iPad app and you'll select which project you want to go into. And then it basically has your plans, and this is basically your docs here. This is where it starts out, so you can go into your plans and you can also go into project files and look at it. And then down at the bottom, you can go to different things. You'll have your issues tab. You'll be able to look at the submittals and the RFIs also. So I don't know if this video shows anything looking at the submittals or RFIs, but
It does.
it does.
How to create an RFI, how to view a submittal and approved submittal,
Okay,
have a markup of a plan and basic navigation of BIM360,
yeah, so
all 4 of them.
this is basically what the issues tab looks like on the iPad, and you can see how it's different than on your desktop. So they can basically go into each one of the issues and look at the same information that you can look at the desktop. You also have submittals and RFIs also, so it's a little bit different. It's a little bit easier interface to go through. It's going to be more for viewing the information rather than submitting information. So, anything else you want me to go over, Steve?
No, that's it. I just, no more questions.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for taking the time to come on today, and let me know, email me or call me if you have any more questions. Thank you, guys.
All good. There you go. I'm gonna meeting ring along.